Everyone, today we have an amazing interview with Philip. Now, Philip has been through several bull markets before. Every single time, he made a bunch of money and ended up losing it or giving his gains back to the market. But this time is different. He's worked with us to become a profitable trader, build an EV Plus system, and in his own words, now he has the option, the freedom to go part time, go full time, and work from anywhere in the world. I hope you enjoy this interview, and transparently, I share these so you can see that what we teach does work and consider applying yourselves. Hey, Philip, great to see you today. Thanks for making the time for this. Before we jump in, could you give us a brief introduction to yourself and your trading history before the program?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great to see you too. So in terms of trading, I really hadn't done any trading. I could probably show a few examples that I, at the time, thought were some sort of primitive version of trading, but my trading journey started, well, I should say my crypto journey started in 2015. One of the few things I did right was to buy in early. I think I made every mistake in the book, but 2015, I bought my first Bitcoin. 2016, I bought my first Ethereum. I got them at great prices. And then fast forward to 2000, I think it was late 17, early 18, we had the big crash. Of course, I fell for the whole, what do they call it? Diamond hands. I fell for
Yeah.
the whole diamond hands routine. I did the ICO thing. I got into these ICOs and I saw those rocket up and come back down. So I think a lot of people in that cycle did something similar. Obviously, I should have taken some profit. I actually did take a little bit of profit, but it was about 50% of the way back down. So I actually accumulated quite a bit, um, towards the end, the peak of that cycle. But I rode it back down pretty far. And, I come from a typical investment world. I had my 401k and I bought and sold some stocks, and this was a new experience for me. So didn't really know what to expect in that first cycle. So then the next cycle comes along, and in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to let that happen again. But I mistakenly chose to put a lot of the money that I made on Celsius Network. And so that was a huge mistake, as we all know. And I had a lot on there, and that one hurt because I had a lot. Granted, some of it was that phony baloney yield. So during that particular cycle, I did do some pair trading between Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I think I did some Bitcoin and Chainlink because that was a big token at the time. It was very popular. And so, what was my trading style? I tried to buy low and sell higher. That was it. I'd love to say it was some kind of primitive version of mean reversion long or something, but it really wasn't the case. So I had to lick my wounds after this whole Celsius scandal, and I had to, wait for them to send me back. I just, I went through a little time frame because it was also shortly after COVID, and the business that I'm in was also greatly impacted by COVID. I'm in the restaurant business. I own, 3 restaurants here in Atlanta and one in Florida. And so, yeah, it was just a real challenging time. Um, but, I knew there was only one thing to do, prepare for the next cycle. And yeah, and the market happened to me. And I told myself one way or another, I'm going to happen to the market this time. I am not going to let it happen to me. So, it just took some time to think about what I was going to do. And yeah, but that's basically, my history. I really was a buy and hold guy. I should have been a buy, hold, and sell guy, but that's basically it. So, so yeah.
And after Celsius, what did you do in between that and when you found the mentorship? How was your trading going then?
Um, I was, I was kind of in a place where I came close to saying, forget this. I was just so aggravated with Celsius, but I did. I bought Solana when it dropped after that whole FTX thing, which I thank goodness wasn't involved in that one too. Um, but because I had 90% of my crypto on Celsius, I had to kind of start fresh a little bit, knowing I would get some back. So I bought some Solana and a couple other things pretty early. But in the meantime, I started really paying attention to what I was lacking. And that was what I started searching um, for how I can improve my trading game, because I knew that's what I needed. I'd see people put charts up and I'd say, "Oh yeah, he says it's going to do this," but I really didn't know, unless he explained it well enough to try and dive into the trading game. To be perfectly
So
honest,
you had no control. You were just dependent on other people telling you what to do.
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Was that your core driver for wanting to learn more, or was there something else?
No, that was it. Like I said before, I was tired of passively being in the market. And by passively, I mean, I was at the mercy of what the market decided to do. If it decided to take a big dip, and I remember thinking it wasn't the end of the peak cycle that, I knew it was going to go down. I knew that was going to happen. It was these mini dips throughout the cycle where I knew if I could see that coming, I could take advantage of that. There was a lot of opportunities that I saw could be taken advantage of. And I said, the only way I'm going to learn how to do this is if I learn technical analysis. And at the time, that's all I really wanted to learn. And so but it eventually became to where I said, I need to like take this and learn it well enough where I'm not just able to view what's happening in the market, but I need to be able to trade this stuff,
Mm.
at a moment's notice. So that's kind of what
And
spurred it.
was was it causing any problems for you not being able to fully take advantage of this? Was there a specific pain point that was triggered you to take action outside of relying on other influences and seeing opportunity that you couldn't take advantage of? Because for a lot of people, just to evaluate on that a little bit, it's they've taken a big loss. They've tried trading for years and it didn't work out. What was the big thing that made you think I have to do this?
Well, I took some pretty massive losses, and that was probably it. Yeah. So, but even both cycles, I took some very big losses, especially the second one. I mean, I
Hmm.
took a big enough loss in the second one where I could have potentially, you know, gone off for quite a few years and done whatever. Yeah, I'm not
Could
going
I
to put
ask
the
how
number.
much
It
roughly
was
the
seven
ballpark range? Wow.
at its peak. Yeah, it was seven figures at its peak, and it was seven figures even when Celsius scandal happened. So it was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. My wife hates when I talk about it. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Uh,
I laugh, but it's behind me now, and I knew there was only one thing that I can do. It was to forward progress was the only thing that I could do. There's no sense. It's okay to lick your wounds for a little while, but
mm,
this it doesn't do any good in the long run.
Absolutely. I've been there myself with a few different things, FTX being one of the ones I got caught up in. So I completely understand the feeling. Um, so, how did you end up finding out the mentorship even existed?
So, as I mentioned earlier, I would follow some crypto Twitter people, some YouTube influencers, and I eventually developed my favorites. And you were someone that I had watched in that previous cycle. I would pull up your tweet every now and then, and it would come up in my feed. And to be honest, I always thought, and it's funny now that I've spoken to you, but I've always thought that you came across as honest and genuine. You weren't trying to shill, because there was a few people that I followed that I thought gave pretty good alpha, and then you'd find out they were just shilling some, whether it's a meme coin or something else, and and some of them, they were right when they wanted to be right, and they didn't want to admit when they were wrong, and so I just thought that you came across as a genuine guy that is either trying to help people or just at the very least just say your feelings honestly. And doesn't mean we have to like it, what the market's about to do. Not everybody likes when someone says the market's going to go down, but I'd rather know it than hear them just say, yeah, it's going to go up. So that was one of the things I found. Yeah, that was the thing that, because I had no other way of knowing. I didn't know anyone else that took the mentorship. I did stumble across some free materials from somewhere else, but I think it was beyond my skill, or not necessarily beyond my skill, but it wasn't presented. It's nice to read it and watch videos, but it's also nice to get some individual instruction. That's much better. At least for me, it was. Um, so I stumbled across your Telegram. I joined that. I got the free program. I went through that like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And that's what finally made me decide because I actually learned something from it.
A lot of people have that issue. It's that there's actually now so much information out there. A lot of it's unstructured. A lot of it contradicts each other. So you don't know what to follow and what order to study it in, whether or not even works as you're going through it. So it can be quite overwhelming. And then you said you already felt a good vibe from what we were putting out online. You heard about the mentorship, and then what were your thoughts as you were going through the application process?
So when I went through the application process, I definitely had some doubts because, well, I'm not that tech savvy, to be perfectly honest. It's not what I do for a living. I know how to use what I know how to use. That was one of the doubts. I wasn't sure what to expect in terms of, you know, and I should have really guessed because I knew it was gonna happen on an exchange, but I just wasn't sure what to expect. And, you know, um, I mean, I have to ask my daughter for help when I send my wife an Instagram story for her birthday, you know. So that's what we're talking about here. But so I had some doubts about that. Um, I had some doubts about the time that I would have been able to invest in it. That was definitely something that I wasn't 100% sure what to expect, even though I think it had mentioned I think when in one of the interviews, I think it was mentioned that I would need to be putting in, I think it was 2 hours a day, or I can't remember the exact time. But yeah, so those were two of the doubts. But I was determined. And I told myself, if I have to set aside some other priorities, I am not going to not do good at this because I didn't put the work in. So that was the way I approached it. I didn't really know what to expect entirely, other than the free program I took. I said, obviously, we're going to learn some of this stuff and we're going to dive in deeper. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking during that process.
Fascinating. So your main concerns were, is this going to be too technical or complicated for me? And then the second one was, do I have enough time? What made you say yes anyway?
Well, I'm pretty good with numbers, even though I'm not super tech savvy with software. I'm pretty good with numbers, and I knew that I'm pretty motivated when I put my mind to something. So I thought I could just outwork other people. So that's always been my mo. Um, but yeah, I just decided I was determined. I was very determined, and so yeah, it was. I remember the first couple of weeks, I was a little bit. I felt like I think I even told you once. I felt like an imposter, because it was just there weren't some people that had traded before that didn't do
Yeah.
well. Obviously, they needed help. It was also it turns out later on, I find out a lot of people did not have any trading experience, which was nice to hear. To share that. But yeah, did I answer the question? I'm not sure if I answered the
You
question.
absolutely did. Oftentimes, it ends up being actually easier to come in with a bit less experience because there's less bad habits that we have to break before we dive further in. So, how's your trading going now, Philip?
So the trading's going great. Wow, yeah, it's been quite a journey to where you know um, you get a promotion in the mentorship, and you're like, is that me? Did I do that? So it's been going great. I was very fortunate to take the mentorship this year. Started in I think February, early February, and so just so happens, we're coming in a bull cycle, and it's been great to be able to utilize some of the things that I've been taught. And I can't say enough um, because my trading's going good. I've been hovering around a 70% win rate literally since August. Take the good with the bad. The part for me that I've really enjoyed is the mental part. I love it
Hmm.
because it's one thing to learn, and it's one thing, but you have to apply it, and you got to be willing to mentally handle whatever the market gives you. And so I've loved that part of it. It's been very challenging, but yeah, I've been EV positive, utilizing what I've learned. Yeah, it's been great.
70% win rate EV plus is fantastic. And more impressive is the duration of time you've managed to sustain that and the number of trades you've done it over. It's what you were saying earlier, biggest problem of having to rely on other traders. The best way to get rid of that is just know that over a large sample size of data, just following your own rules outperforms everyone else. Congratulations. You put in the work. We just help push you in the right, point you in the right direction. And yeah, great job on how far you've come with the mentorship. So tell me, when you joined, what was your approach? How did the tech savvy problem end up playing out on the program?
Well, I realize sometimes you just got to get in there and play with things and press some buttons and and just be willing to make a mistake. I mean, fortunately, we're learning with 5 cents, 10 cents, very low amounts to make sure that we're. I think my coach told me, "Don't pay any extra tuition if you don't have to." Right? I think was the comment he made to me. Um, and so that was, certainly helps to not be risking everything when you're trying to learn. But yeah, I think it took about a month. I had a few light bulb moments. I remember specifically after about 4 months in June, I had a light bulb moment where I was trading, and I remember the particular confluences that I was using at the time, and my view of the market and the bias I had for it all seemed to come together. And I was like, wow, look at that. I just did that. And because before that, I was doing these things, but I was a little robotic and trying to go through my checklist. But I think I got to the point where I didn't need to look at my checklist. It was in my brain. I remembered it. I knew it. And now it was just me and the keyboard and the screen. And that was a light bulb moment for me. And then, you move on to something else, and there's always going to be there's new challenges when the market got really choppy over the summer. And so, but the thing that I had, and by this time I knew that it worked, is I had a process that I'd been taught. And even if today I hang up this call and I decide I want to try a different type of strategy, maybe I want to start, doing a weekly time. I mean, I know that I have a process that I've been taught that will allow me to put that whatever strategy I'm considering through this process, test it, collect data, um, you know, review it in my journal. And yeah, so I feel confident that not only do I have a strategy now and some strategies that work, but if I feel that the market is telling me I need to try something different, then I feel that's what I have, and that's in my head, and no one's going to take that away from me. And so that's the thing that I really am so happy about.
Whatever happens now, you just need a laptop, an internet connection, and a bit of money to start out, and you can build a strategy for any asset, any market using these core principles. Fantastic. Uh, you said you had these epiphany moments where you went from robotic checklists to being able to use discretion a bit more. Could you tell me specifically what changes did you end up making to your system when you came on the program? You were saying before you used to buy low, sell high, or try to do it as best as possible. How did that change on this program?
Oh, well, through the trial and error, and through some of the journal reviews and things that I was taught, um, I'm not sure how to answer this question, but mainly, I mean, everything changed really because I didn't really have any process really before, so everything changed. But I was able to understand what some of the various indicators did. I wasn't told which one I should use, but because I've come to know that there's different ways to skin a cat, obviously, in this
Hmm.
game, right? And so, you know, I I tested a few things. I'm not going to lie. I would look at some of the other members in the community and see what they were doing. And I said, well, that looks pretty good. He seems to be doing well. I would say, I'm going to use those two moving averages too. And over time, I decided, all right, it makes more sense for me to use this. I like this one better. But that's kind of how I started. It was a combination of working with and watching like some of the better traders in the community, like a hawk, working with my coach. And that's kind of how it started for me. Um, and
I mean, that's
like I
the
said to you,
beauty.
yeah,
So that's the beauty of having better traders around you. You can just see what they're doing, and by osmosis, you become a better trader. You take on the things that you like from what they're doing, bring it onto your system. You know it's going to take you a lot closer to profitable trading than doing something random.
yeah, yeah. That was a an unexpected bigger benefit than I had thought was the community of traders. I mean, even to this, when I started connecting with a couple of them, not just but through phone calls and stuff,
Hmm.
really, I mean, it was great, to share the same challenges. It was great to share some of the work. If I put 30 hours of work into something and another trader put 30 hours of work into something else, we were able to share that alpha. Yeah, that was, and I've made some friends through it too. So it's been great. Yeah.
That's awesome. Did you even know that this is what you needed before you joined the program? Were you aware that this is what trading is and this is what your journey would look like?
To be honest, no, I didn't really know what to expect. I knew that I was going to learn. I thought maybe I was going to learn there was a specific way, right? And you do it this way. And it wasn't really that at all. It was, I didn't expect to be able to learn to develop my own the way that I did. I thought I was going to be given things. Hey, this is how we do it, and this is how you're going to learn, and you've got to learn it this way. But, it just shows how naive I was about the process, to be honest. But, yeah.
Most people have very little idea exactly what trading ends up looking like because there's so much misinformation out there online. So now that you're done with the program, you got your profitable strategy. How has your life changed relative to before the mentorship?
Um, So it's been great. The market's been, great. I actually can envision myself, because I own my own business. I would either have to sell it or go silent. But I'm envisioning that now. I mean, I don't want to jinx myself and say it, but yeah, I'm envisioning myself either going part time or going silent. Because I have some business partners that could probably, take care of things. But yeah, that was what I wanted. you know, I, I just turned 60. So that's another thing. You're never too old or too young to learn this stuff. I just turned 60 last Wednesday, and I envision, I have a new skill in my 60s, something new, and I can take my wife places and take my laptop with me if I want, um, and make some money and have a little bit more freedom because that's what this is about for me. I mean, money is great, but it's the freedom that is really, I think, what I hear other traders that I talk to. That's what we're all after. Just the ability to clock in and clock out. If on Wednesday you want to trade 8 hours and Thursday you want to trade 2 hours, well, that'll be up to me. So, um, yeah, it's been fantastic. And the thing is too, I love trading. I mean, that's the thing. Like, there is no 1 hour. If I have the time, I will spend more time than that because I really do enjoy it.
It's nothing better than that freedom. That's why most of us are in the game. I'm glad that you can envision that future now. You have the freedom to continue with your business, go part time, or even go silent slash full time, like you described. Congratulations. Last question. If someone's watching this right now and they're unsure about whether or not to take the next step, what would you tell them?
I would say if you are willing to put in the work, because I'm not going to pretend that this is going to get handed to you, you have to be willing to put in the work, which means you got to want it. I would say do it because the help that you're going to get, I mean, I can't say enough about the coaches because, you envision they don't just answer your questions, but like you throw something in our Discord and a very well thought out answer is given to you by someone that's not even your own personal coach, one of the other coaches, because you get an individual coach. I can't say enough about the coaches. They're great. And the community is an added bonus as well. I think so, did something happen with the connection there? Yeah, the community has been an added bonus. All the traders are very, very keen and want to help you because they've just learned something new and this is exciting for them. So all the advanced traders want to help the other guys. So yeah, I think that's I would say go for it. I would just say go for it. Do it.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you so much for taking the time for this call. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting, and I know we'll chat again soon.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.